You know what the problem with being a military analyst is? That nobody listens to you until everything goes sideways. Onlinens Vector, and I am what you humans might call a xenobiologist attached to the Kryll Imperial Fleet. Was attached, I should say, past tense, because after what happened on that miserable little planet you call Earth, I got demoted so hard I am now cataloging fungal specimens in the waste recycling department. But I am getting ahead of myself. Let me take you back to 6 standard cycles ago when Commander Zalthar, may his particles scatter across the void, decided that humanity was ripe for conquest.
Easy pickings,
He said. Primitive technology, he said. Barely out of their nuclear age, he said.
I tried to warn him.
I really did.
I tried to warn him.
I really did. But does anyone listen to the science officer?
No, they do not.
We dropped out of hyperspace right above your moon. Whole very dramatic entrance.
Yo, if I do say so myself.
12 battle cruisers, 300 fighter craft, and enough plasma weaponry to turn a small continent into glass. Zalthar was so confident he did not even bother with standard reconnaissance protocols. Just sent out the surrender broadcast in 47 different languages and sat back in his command throne, already planning his victory parade. Humans being humans, you lot responded in the most confusing way possible. Instead of immediately surrendering like sensible beings, you sent back a message that consisted entirely of what my translator interpreted as laughing sounds. Not words. Just laughter, for 7 whole minutes. Zalthar was not amused. Neither was his second-in-command, Vexus, who had the personality of a malfunctioning combat drone and the patience of a supernova. She demanded immediate retaliation.
Zalthar,
Being the strategic genius he thought he was, decided to send down a demonstration force. Nothing major. Just 500 shock troops to capture one of your major population centers. Show you primitives what you were dealing with. They chose Houston, Texas. Of all the places on your planet, they chose Houston. In retrospect, this was mistake number 1, but nobody asked me. I was monitoring the deployment from the science bay, running last-minute scans of human biology, and trying to update our tactical database with anything useful. What I found should have terrified everyone on that bridge. Human bone density, absurdly high. Muscle fiber composition, optimized for sustained exertion under high gravity. Pain tolerance, off the charts. Adrenaline response, absolutely unhinged. I sent my report directly to Zalthar's console, flummoxed urgent, added 17 exclamation points. He glanced at it for approximately 3 seconds before waving it away, too busy watching the deployment feeds. The troops landed in the middle of your city during what you call rush hour. Perfect timing for maximum psychological impact, Zalthar said. The humans would see our might and crumble immediately. Except, they did not crumble. They pulled out devices, small rectangular things you call phones, and they started recording. There we were, 4-meter-tall Kryll warriors, in full combat armor, plasma rifles charged and ready. And these soft little primates were taking pictures. Some of them were smiling. One of your younglings walked right up to squad leader Thex and asked if she could take what you call a selfie with him. Thex was so confused he actually posed for it. That should have been our first clue that something was very, very wrong. The squad leader finally got his bearing back and activated his translator. Demanded to speak with whoever was in charge. The humans kind of looked at each other, shrugged, and someone called what you refer to as the cops. Not your military, your civilian law enforcement. Zalthar was furious. Absolutely furious. This was not how conquests were supposed to go. Where was the screaming? The panic? The desperate pleas for mercy? Instead, we got a traffic jam because apparently our landing craft were blocking a major intersection and people were annoyed about being late to something called work. Then she showed up. Her name was Maya Torres, and she was 5 feet and 4 inches of compressed trouble that our scanners completely failed to classify as a threat. She arrived in one of your primitive ground vehicles, the kind with the flashing lights, wearing a uniform that designated her as some sort of peacekeeping official. She exited her vehicle, looked at the 500 armed alien warriors currently occupying 3 city blocks, took off her hat, and sighed like she had just found out her food order was wrong. Not afraid, annoyed. She walked right up to Thex, who towered over her by a good 1.5 meters, and said, and I quote, "What exactly do you think you are doing?" The Thex, to his credit, tried to maintain protocol. He gave her the standard speech about surrender, submission, and the glorious Kryll Empire. She listened. She actually listened to the whole thing, nodding occasionally like she was taking mental notes. When he finished, she asked, "So let me get this straight. You flew here. From where exactly?" Dax told her, gave her the coordinates and everything, probably hoping to impress her with the distance we had traveled. She whistled. "Long way to come just to be a nuisance. You got permits for those ships?" "Permits," TX repeated. His translator was having difficulty with the concept. "Yeah, permits. Authorization, legal documentation allowing you to park massive spacecraft in restricted airspace. I am guessing the answer is no." The X tried to explain that as a conquering force, they did not need permits. Maya just shook her head like she was dealing with a particularly slow child. "Okay, new question. You planning on starting a war here?" "That is precisely our intention," Vex confirmed, probably relieved to be back on familiar ground. "Right." She pulled out a small device, spoke into it. "Dispatch, this is Torres. Is going to need everything we have. Also, call the governor. Tell her to wake up the guard. We have a situation." Vex found this amusing. He informed her that resistance was futile, that our weapons could level her entire city in moments, that humanity had no chance against Kryll might. Maya listened again. Then she said something that I will never forget. The phrase that should have been carved into every datapad in our fleet as a warning. "Hold my beer." She handed her drink, some kind of carbonated beverage in a glass bottle, to a nearby civilian. Then she turned back to Thex and smiled. Not a friendly smile. The kind of smile that predators make right before they strike. "Look, big guy, I have had a really long shift. My feet hurt. I missed my daughter's recital because of overtime. And now you show up, block traffic, scare people, and threaten my city. So here is what is going to happen. You are going to get back in your little spaceships and leave, or I am going to make you leave." The audacity was stunning. 500 heavily armed alien warriors, and this tiny human female was threatening them. The Thex made the mistake of laughing. His entire squad joined in, big booming metallic laughs that echoed off your primitive buildings. Maya did not laugh. What happened next occurred so fast that our suit cameras barely captured it. She moved like liquid violence. One moment she was standing there, hands on her hips. The next, she had vaulted onto Thex's chest plate, using his weapon harness as leverage, wrapped her legs around his helmet in a move our analysts later classified as what you call a chokehold, and twisted. Kryll neck vertebrae are reinforced with cartilage that can withstand 3,000 pounds of pressure. Apparently Maya Torres did not care about our biology specs. There was a sound, a terrible crunching, grinding sound. Futuristic toppled backward like a falling tower, Maya riding him down, still maintaining her grip. When he hit the ground, she released, rolled to her feet, and before anyone could react, she had his plasma rifle in her hands. Now, our plasma rifles are genetically coded. They only work for Kryll DNA, completely useless to other species. Except Maya pointed it at the next closest warrior, pulled the trigger, and a bolt of superheated plasma punched clean through his chest armor. "Impossible," someone shouted over the comm channel. "The weapon should not function," someone else added. Maya did not care about should or should not. She fired again and again, each shot perfectly placed. Joints,
Helmet seals.
weak points in the armor that even our own troops had trouble targeting in combat simulations. On the bridge, alarms were screaming. Zalthar was standing now, staring at the feeds with an expression I had never seen on his face before. Fear. Real, genuine fear. "How is she doing that?" Vexus demanded, her voice nearly breaking. I checked my scanners, rechecked them, ran the numbers 3 times because I could not believe what I was seeing. "Commander," said carefully, "human bone density is 0.6 times greater than ours. Their muscle tissue operates on a completely different chemical principle. They evolved on a high-gravity world with atmospheric pressure that would crush most species. They are built for endurance, for survival, for absurd levels of physical punishment, and this particular human, according to my readings, has elevated stress hormones that are increasing her strength by approximately 300%. Zalthar stared at me. "What are you saying?" "I am saying we just tried to invade a planet full of deathworlders, sir. I am saying that human right there is operating on what they call an adrenaline response. I am saying we have made a terrible, catastrophic mistake." Down on the surface, Maya had taken cover behind one of your ground vehicles. Orthe, more humans were arriving now. Not soldiers, Not yet. Just civilians. And they were angry. Someone threw what you call a brick. It hit a Kryll warrior's helmet, hard enough to crack the visor. Another human, a large male wearing denim pants and a shirt with words on it, picked up a fallen plasma rifle. It should not have worked for him either. It worked perfectly. He whooped. Actually whooped with joy and started firing. More humans grabbed weapons. Your species learned how to use our technology in seconds. Seconds. On the bridge, Zolthar was screaming orders. Send reinforcements. Hull prepare orbital bombardment. Hull to something. But Maya was talking again.
Yelling.
Actually, her voice carrying over the comm channels we had foolishly left open. You want Houston? You want Texas? Come and take it. And the humans. Oh, the humans. They cheered. They howled. They charged. What happened over the next 6 minutes will haunt me until my particles dissipate back into the cosmic background. Your species turned warfare into something primal, something terrifying. Squad after squad fell, not to superior technology, not to better tactics, but to raw, unbridled, unreasonable violence. A human female in what appeared to be jogging attire killed 4 warriors with their own helmet after ripping it off the first one's head. A male in a business suit still carrying his briefcase used it to bludgeon a soldier unconscious and then took his armor, piece by piece, while the soldier was still moving. Your elderly did not run. They joined in. Your younglings, the ones who should have been easy targets, picked up debris and turned it into weapons. One of them, could not have been more than 12 solar years old, figured out how to hotwire a plasma cannon and turned it on our dropship. On the command deck, Zolthar was not giving orders anymore. He was just staring, his mandibles slack, his skin losing its color. Sir, I tried again. I strongly recommend immediate retreat. He did not respond. Vex's did though. She activated fleet-wide communications. All units, fall back. Repeat, all units, fall back. Full retreat. But it was too late for squad leader Thex. Too late for his 500 warriors. Maya Torres made sure of that. I watched through the dying feed as she walked through the battlefield, that plasma rifle held with practiced ease, finishing off anyone who tried to surrender. When she reached Thex, still alive somehow, pinned under debris, she looked down at him. She said something. The translator caught it. Welcome to Earth. Then she fired. The feed cut out. Zolthar sat down heavily in his command throne.
His eyes were distant, unfocused. In the span of less than 10 minutes, we had lost an entire forward deployment, not to an army.
Not to advanced weapons. To civilians having a bad day. Retreat. Zolthar finally whispered. Full fleet retreat. Maximum speed. And that is when Maya Torres did something that still gives me nightmares. She looked up, directly at our ship. I swear on every star in the void she could not possibly have known where the camera was, but she looked right at it. She smiled, raised the plasma rifle, and mouthed 2 words. Come back. We did not come back. We ran principal battle cruisers, 300 fighter craft and enough firepower to conquer a star system. We ran like terrified younglings from a predator's den. But the story does not end there. Oh no.
It only gets worse, because Maya Torres was not done.
Not even close. What came next? Well, you will have to wait for part 2 of this tale. Assuming you want to hear about how one human female with anger issues brought down Commander Zolthar and convinced the entire Kryll fleet that humanity was not worth the trouble. Spoiler alert, she was very, very convincing. Then there we were. 12 battle cruisers fleeing from one planet like we had just kicked a hornet nest. Except hornets do not learn how to use plasma weapons in under 30 seconds.
Hornets do not smile at you while systematically dismantling your entire ground force. Hornets are, frankly, more reasonable.
The Commander Zolthar was in what I can only describe as a catatonic state. He sat in his command throne, staring at nothing, occasionally mumbling about protocols and proper invasion procedures. Vexus had taken operational control, barking orders at everyone, trying to salvage what was left of our dignity. Spoiler alert, all there was not much left to salvage. We had jumped to a position 3 light minutes out from Earth. Safe distance, we thought, far enough that your primitive rockets could not reach us. Close enough that we could monitor the situation and maybe, just maybe, figure out what went wrong. I was in my lab, running every test I could think of, trying to understand how Maya Torres had fired a genetically coded weapon, how she had killed a Kryll warrior in hand-to-hand combat, how she had moved with that kind of speed and precision. The answer, When I found it was both simple and absolutely terrifying. Humans do not just have one genetic code. You have what you call gut bacteria. Trillions of foreign organisms living inside you. Your skin is covered in microscopic life. You are not one being. You are an entire ecosystem walking around in a meat suit. Besivas is a god. You are just a beaver's. And when Maya grabbed that plasma rifle, her hands covered in sweat and oils and bacteria, and who knows what else, provided enough genetic variety that the weapons safety protocols just gave up trying to figure out who was holding it. You are living biological weapons platforms. Every single one of you. I sent this report to Vexus. She read it. She looked at me through the comm screen with an expression that clearly said she wished she had never learned to read. So you are telling me, she said slowly, that humans can use any weapon we bring because they are too biologically messy for our security systems to handle. In summary, yes. She closed the channel without another word. That is when the transmission came through. It was on an open channel, broadcasting on every frequency, video and audio, crystal clear, and it was her. Maya Torres stood in what appeared to be some kind of governmental building. Behind her were other humans, lots of them. Some in military uniforms, some in suits. One was wearing what I later learned was a cowboy hat. They all looked very, very angry. "Attention, Kryll fleet," Maya began. Her voice was calm. Too calm. The kind of calm that precedes storms. "This is Captain Maya Torres of the Houston Police Department. I have been asked by my government to serve as liaison for this situation, so let me make this simple for you." She stepped closer to the camera.
You came to our planet uninvited. You threatened our people.
"You attempted to conquer our home. That was mistake number 1. Mistake number 2 was thinking we would just roll over and accept it. Mistake number 3 was running away before we could properly introduce ourselves." Someone off camera handed her something. A tablet of some kind. "We have been monitoring your fleet. Nice ships. Big. Impressive. Must have cost a fortune. I pulled up some information about your species. The Kryll Empire. 300 conquered worlds. 50,000 years of military dominance. Very impressive resume." She set the tablet down. "Here is the thing though. Those 300 worlds? According to our scans, they were all low-gravity planets. Thin atmospheres, peaceful species who surrendered quickly. You have never fought anyone like us. You have never tried to invade a death world before." The man in the cowboy hat leaned into frame. His accent was thick, drawling. "Y'all picked the wrong planet, partner." Maya continued.
"Oh, we have been making phone calls. Lots of phone calls. Every major government on Earth.
We told them what happened here in Houston. We showed them the footage, the bodies, the weapons you left behind." She smiled. That predator smile again. "They were very interested, especially when we demonstrated how your plasma rifles work. Or rather how they work for us now. Your genetic locks are useless. Your armor can be breached with the right application of force. Your tactics are outdated. And your commander? Well, let's just say he does not inspire confidence." On the bridge, Zalthar finally snapped out of his stupor. "How dare she? How dare this primitive? I will glass their entire planet. I will turn their world into ash." Vexus put a hand on his shoulder. "Sarah, she is baiting you. I do not care. Prepare orbital bombardment. All weapons, fire on my command." But Maya was not done talking. "Now, I am a reasonable person," she said. So here is what is going to happen. You have 2 options. 1. You leave. Right now. You jump to whatever hyperspace nonsense you use and you never come back. You tell every other species out there that Earth is off limits, that humans are not interested in being conquered, that we will absolutely ruin your day if you try this again. She paused for effect. Option 2. You stay. You try to save face. You fire your big scary weapons at us. And we show you exactly why evolution on a high-gravity world, with extreme weather, predatory megafauna, and a complete lack of natural defenses made us the way we are. Another human stepped forward. Female, wearing a military uniform with lots of decorations. General Kira Okonkwo. She introduced herself. United States Air Force. "Let me be clear. We have been studying your ships for the last 3 hours. We know where your reactors are. We know where your weapons are stored. We know your shield frequencies. And we have 1,700 nuclear missiles ready to launch the moment you get hostile. A third human appeared. Male, older, white hair.
Hey! He spoke with an accent I could not place.
Dr. Henrik Svensson, he said, Stockholm University. I have been analyzing the wreckage of your dropship. Fascinating technology. Primitive in some ways, advanced in others. Whoa. I estimate we will have functional copies within 6 months. Maybe less if my team skips sleep. We tend to do that when we are motivated. Maya took back center frame. So let me recap. Option 1. You leave and live to tell the tale. Option 2. You attack and we reverse engineer your entire technological base while defending ourselves with weapons you cannot protect against. Your choice. You have 1 hour to decide. The transmission ended. Zolthar was shaking. Actually physically shaking. Launch everything. Every weapon. I want that planet burning. Vexus looked at me. I looked at the tactical displays. I did the math. Wire said carefully. If we fire on Earth, we will be committing 12 ships against a planet that has, according to my scans, approximately 8,000 active nuclear weapons. Their delivery systems are primitive. Yes, but they do not need sophistication when they have quantity. And that is not counting whatever conventional weapons they can bring to bear, or the fact that, as Captain Torres demonstrated, they can use our own weapons against us. I do not care about the math. Zolthar screamed. I care about honor. I care about the reputation of the Kryll Empire. With respect, sir, Vexus said quietly. The Kryll Empire's reputation will not matter much if we are all dead. That is when the second transmission came through. This time, it was not from Maya. It was from Earth's planetary defense network, or rather, what they had cobbled together in 3 hours. The transmission was simple. A targeting lock, on every single one of our ships, simultaneously. The tactical officer's voice was high-pitched with panic. Sir, they have locked weapons on us. Multiple launch signatures detected. I count over 300 missiles inbound. Estimated time to impact, 4 minutes. How? Zolthar demanded. How did they launch so fast? Because they were already ready, I said quietly. They have been ready for this moment for decades. Every human government has been preparing for alien invasion since they figured out space travel was possible. This is not improvised defense, Commander. This is rehearsed. 3 minutes 30 seconds. Tactical called out. Shields up, Zolthar ordered. All point defense online. Intercept those missiles. The defensive batteries roared to life. Plasma turrets, laser arrays, kinetic interceptors, everything we had. All the missiles started dying. Dozens at a time. Explosions bloomed in the void like deadly flowers. But more kept coming. 2 minutes, Tactical said. Her voice was steady now, professional. We are intercepting 80%, but 20% are getting through. That is acceptable losses, Lothar said. Our shields will hold. I checked my scanners. Sir, those missiles are not conventional. They are emitting unusual radiation signatures. I think they are nuclear weapons. Of course they are nuclear, you idiot. We knew that. No, sir. I mean, they are different than our database indicated. Higher yields. Much higher. I am reading output levels that should not be possible with their technology. They must have been working on these for years. Decades, maybe. 1 minute. Vexus grabbed Zolthar's arm. Sarah, we need to jump. Now. No. We can survive this. We will show them that Kryll ships cannot be defeated by primitive weapons. 30 seconds. Commander, please. While Vexus was begging now. I had never heard her beg before. Zolthar said nothing. Just stared at the tactical display as those missiles got closer.
And closer.
10 seconds. 9. 8. At the last possible moment, Vexus overrode Zolthar's command. She slammed her fist on the emergency jump control. Every ship in the fleet received the signal simultaneously. Jump drives engaged. Reality twisted. We jumped blind. No calculations. No destination. Just away. As far away as the drives could take us in one burst. The last thing our sensors recorded before we left was the detonation, not of 300 nuclear weapons. That would have been survivable. No, the humans had been clever. Absolutely insane. They had detonated all 300 at once, at the exact same point in space, creating a fusion reaction that for approximately 0.03 seconds, rivaled the output of a small star. Where our fleet had been, there was nothing but radiation and debris. We materialized 7 light years away, in the middle of nowhere. Damage reports started flooding in immediately. 2 ships were gone. Just gone, jumped into oblivion, because their drives were not calibrated for emergency activation. 3 more were heavily damaged. Hull breaches, reactor failures. The flagship, Zalthar ship, had lost half its port side, and Zalthar himself was unconscious. The jump shock had overwhelmed his nervous system. Vexis took command. She looked at the surviving crew, then at me. "Well, science officer," she said tiredly, "your report, what did we learn?" I pulled up my data. All of it. Every scan, every measurement, every terrifying detail. "We learned," I said slowly, "that humans are what happens when evolution decides to create a species that refuses to quit. They are not the strongest, they are not the fastest, they are not the smartest, but they are stubborn, they are creative, they are vengeful, and they are absolutely, positively, not worth the effort of conquering." Vexis nodded. Recommendation. We add Earth to the exclusion list. Category red. No contact, no approach, no interaction. We tell every species in the known galaxy that humans are off limits, and we pray they never develop faster than light travel. Agreed, Vexis said. She turned to the communications officer. "Send a message to High Command. Tell them we found a species unsuitable for integration into the Empire. Tell them whatever you need to tell them to make sure no one ever goes back there." "And Zalthar?" I asked. "When he wakes up, he will be formally relieved of command. Failure to assess threat level, improper engagement protocols, unnecessary loss of life. The list goes on." "And Maya Torres?" Vexis actually smiled, a small, tired, respectful smile. "We send her a message, a personal one, thanking her for the lesson in humility, and warning her that while we will not return, others might not be so wise." "Did you actually send that message?" I had to ask. Vexis looked at me for a long moment. Then she pulled up a comm screen, showed me the draft. "Dear Captain Torres, on behalf of the Kryll Empire, I extend our sincerest apologies for the misunderstanding. We have reclassified Earth as a prohibited zone. We will ensure other species are aware of your unique capabilities. Please accept this as a formal declaration of non-aggression. We will not return. Signed, Acting Commander Vexis of the Kryll Imperial Fleet." She hit send. 3 days later, we received a response. Text only. 2 words. "Stay gone." We did. And that is how I ended up cataloging fungal specimens in waste recycling. Because I was right. Because I tried to warn them. Because nobody listens to the science officer until it is too late. But you know what? I do not mind. It is quiet here. Peaceful. Nobody is trying to conquer deathworlds or challenge apex predators in their own territory. And sometimes, late at night when I am alone in the lab, I pull up that footage again. Maya Torres walking through that battlefield. Fearless. Unstoppable. Terrifying. And I thank every star in the galaxy she is not on our side. But mostly, I think humanity. They are not ready to join the galactic community. The galactic community is not ready for them, and that is probably for the best. For everyone.